we're getting back started again here, and we're actually just looking at our finished painting that we did just a few episodes ago on our YouTube videos. We created this beautiful architectural home, and we did the architectural features, the tree, the beautiful colors of this scene. And we said that in this video, we showed how we actually, we did a contour drawing of this beautiful house. Could be a vacation house, or could be a bed and breakfast, or it could be a home, a residential home, our home, your home, anybody's home. And we just showed how we, in that video, how we worked from a photograph, actually. I worked from a photograph on this painting. I couldn't show the photograph because it's got copyright on it, so I can't show it on camera. Otherwise, I could be held accountable and might, have problems legally. So I'm just, always aware of that when I'm creating paintings. So getting back onto the idea here of perspective. So here, if we were to be sitting in front of this scene, let's say, and we're sitting in front of the scene and we're drawing and painting it. So we're here, or maybe in a chair. We're in a chair and we're drawing and painting this. We're looking at the building on an angle. So the building is angling away from us. So we're forced to figure out the angles, the perspective of this scene as we're drawing. And we did that in that last video that we did. So now, in this video, we're going to make it more simple. We're going to go with a two-dimensional look. So all we have to do now is, for this painting, is I will create it into a two-dimensional look, even though the photograph that I have is in this more three-dimensional perspective. So what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll just create it and say, all right, if I'm making it in a two-dimensional rendering, what I will do is it'll all be as if I'm sitting straight in front of the building and there's no angles. So this would be like if you were looking top down. Here's the house. Let's say this is the front of the house looking top down, like if we're looking at a blueprint. And then I'm here with my easel painting. Here I am, and then here's my chair. Here's my pad and paper. So I'm here, and I'm looking at the scene like this. It's as if the wall is perfectly straight in front of me, parallel. Or I'm looking at the wall, and the wall is completely, in a two-dimensional fashion in front of me. So I'm not seeing any angles like this. So I'm not looking at the house on an angle. I'm looking at the house as if I'm sitting right in front, center of the building, right in front of it. I'm looking and I'm drawing it that way. So then that's here. We're going to do that. So here we'll see, the roofs. Everything is going to be more simplified. We're going to have roofs and, like this. We're going to have our clay tile roofs. Everything is going to be more simplified. It's going to be in two dimensions. We're not going to have to worry about any odd angles. We're just doing a two-dimensional feel. And this is a great way to do your artwork. So if you can imagine, we're just creating that two-dimensional feel like this here. So if we have a porch over here, and then we have arched doorways, whatever we have. I'm just kind of improvising right now, and then there's the steps over here maybe, and there's the water fountain over here, the water feature. And then we have the tree over here, that big, beautiful, shady tree in front of the house, making it look beautiful and interesting and giving us some more additional perspective. But as you can see, we're going to do this now in a two-dimensional perspective, 2D, 2 dimensions. And this way we're not worrying about perspective and getting all those angles. That can be quite challenging. So this is more, again, for the beginners or intermediate students. You guys want to, gals want to tackle this painting, you can do it, especially in 2 dimensions. I'll show you how easy it really is. So I will improvise this somewhat. I'm not going to really suffer over trying to get it exact. We'll do more of a simplified version. I'm going to look, though, and keep referring back to my original painting like this. So now's a great time. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back and we'll start in with our drawing, and I'll explain how I'm just going to do a simplified version of this and how you can do it too. Have fun, enjoy all the beautiful colors you're going to use, the light and shade, the beautiful tonal values, the darks, the real lights, the whites of the paper on the building and so forth, and the orange clay tiles, all the beautiful colors. So again, we're going to do something very, very similar to this, and we'll be right back. We'll start in with our drawing. Okay, so we're ready to get started again, and we're going to draw in 2 dimensions versus, again, the 3-dimensional look here. We're going to make it simplified. I'm going to set this across from me, and let's begin the drawing. I'm going to tape this up on my wall across from me. Okay. Okay. So I'll just talk out loud here. First thing I'd like to do is make sure I get my hash marks around the outside of my tape. So I always tape my paper down with artist tape or good masking tape, good artist tape. This stuff works great. You can buy this in the box stores that comes in all different colors. This is painter's tape. This won't rip your paper or tear or destroy the surface of your watercolor paper, no matter what type of paper it is. Some tapes will tear and destroy the face of the watercolor paper, but this does not. This is really good quality painter's tape, so I use this a lot. I use white artist tape around here so that it kind of doesn't look so, it kind of blends in with the background here with our table. So it's less distracting if you're watching a video, but when I do my paintings in my studio, I'll use the colored artist tape. So again, we're looking to get our hash marks. Let's just say we'll go with about not quite half. If this is halfway, we'll say this is halfway. So not quite halfway is going to be the roof over here. So we'll say roof there. And then we're going to say here is, this is the fountain, water fountain. Water fountain here. Then the painting, we're going straight across again. We're not doing any angles, so straight across. This is going to be the wall, stone wall. Bottom stone wall here, same level as the water fountain. Roof here, that's going to be the same over here approximately, so this will be roof. Eave or eave of roof. Eave of roof. Then we're going to go up here, and this is going to be the next level. This is going to be eaves. Roof and eaves up here. Across here. Roof. Eaves of roof here. There we go. So we have our hash marks. Incredibly important if we're doing a drawing and a painting. If we can do this beforehand, before we start painting and drawing, and of course you're looking at your subject matter, whether you're looking if you're looking at a photograph, if you're working and you're sitting in front of a subject matter outdoors in plein air doing sketching and drawing and painting, or if you're working from your iPhone or your phone or your laptop or your communications device or computer, always the same. You'd want to look at the subject matter you're looking at and kind of figure out where it's going to sit in your rectangle that you're creating. So you're always thinking to yourself, I'm creating a rectangle. It could be vertical, like a portrait, or it could be in a landscape fashion, which is, horizontally. But you're going to want to always make sure you're sort of kind of thinking to yourself, where am I going to put everything in that rectangle, in that space? So we've done that. We've looked at everything, made sure we have our points of where our bottom of our wall is going to be, our roof eaves, the first floor, the second floor, and then that's really all we need to really worry about. The tree is over here. Tree's here, and it goes into the painting this way. And then we could also divide our space maybe into maybe three sections. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I would say 3. So we're sort of having about 3 sections, thirds of the left side is like the porch area. The center section is like where the front door is, and then the right section is where the stone wall is over here. So let's get started. I'll get my pencil. I'm going to draw a little bit darker than I might normally draw so that you can see my pencil marks as I go. But I'm just going to kind of take my time and look at it and say, okay, well, we said we were going to break it into thirds. So I'll transfer my lines down this way, just sort of in a rough fashion like that. Okay, and then we said we were going to go here was the... This is going to be the fountain. Like that. And there's a little bit of the steps there. We might see that. And this is the stone wall. And this might come out a little different than our other painting. Well, it's going to be different anyway, but... And then we're going to have our tree here, just so we kind of remember. That's going to kind of be where the tree is. That's our stone wall. So basically we have our water fountain here, our water feature. And this is the actual fountain area where the water is, and then there's some interesting details on there, like that. And we're going to go over here. Now this might be a little different than what the original might look like, but we're not going to worry about it. Okay, so okay, our steps, our stone wall, our other wall over here. Then we're going to go with our wall here. Eave of roof here, so we're going to do this. That's the other eave of roof there. So I'm just sort of trying to get the feel here. So this will be the porch area. Like that. Okay, and you can work this stuff out on your own. When you're drawing, you're just I'm gonna try to keep this pretty simple. So this balcony is the same height as this roof level. Okay, that's the balcony. I'll make the railings like that. Okay, then we're having the arch doorway where the then I'll just erase a little bit there. Okay. Okay, that's there. And then this just goes all the way across. So this goes all the way across the whole picture. And then this is the roof here. There we go. We're just trying to capture that clay tiles. It's like arches, basically like small arches or small upside down U's. And we just put some indication of lines for the clay tile roof. And then, let's see, let's see, how far is that over this way? I think over about here. We have another roof, and it's about that same level as the other roof over here, like that. That. And that's really it. And then over here, there is a window. So let's put a window over here. Half a window. Shutters. These are shutters here. So we just remember to put those little lines to help us remember. We need to put those lines in when we're painting. And that's really it. And then we just have the tree. Let's get that tree in there. Try to get some branches in there. You know, you could leave if you want to leave the tree a little more to the right and not have too much of it showing in the picture, you can do that too. I might do that. It's even if I've drawn in some pencil lines like that with the tree, no big deal. We can erase some of them. Not a big deal. I'm just going to erase that. I'm not going to put as many. I'm going to kind of stick with keeping the tree over this way a little more, like that. And we'll paint that all in. So you can see that when we start painting, you're going to watch and see how I'm going to paint in these trunks of the tree and these branches like that. And I want to leave this area open. I don't want to cover this section over here. So that's okay. Once we start painting, you're not going to see these pencil lines that I drew in. You can just erase those out, and that's fine. And we have some stonework here, so remember to put some stones here. Just to remember, we're making some stone walls over here. So I'm just going to remember to put some pencil in some stones there. Then let's add in some bushes and things. That's what we're doing here. Bushes and some nice palm type shrubs and things and plants. And the same thing over here behind the fountain. We're going to have some of those palm type plants, and you know, we can leave a little bit of that white wall over here. So don't forget to leave some white of paper in here a little bit. And then back here we have some more trees. And up here we have more branches and trees. And that's good. All right, so that's the drawing. Basically very simple. We're just kind of we just recreated the same, pretty much the same architecture, but we just created it in 2 dimensions. So we just made everything as if we took our paper, if we took our chair and our easel, and we sat in front of this beautiful house, or it could be a bed and breakfast, or your vacation house. We could think about it any way we want. We get into the excitement of this beautiful architecture house and the tropical plants and all this cool stuff. Let's get into it. And then we think, okay, we're just going to sit straight right in front of it, where the wall is straight in front of us like this, parallel to our vision. So we're not on any type of angle. We're looking directly in front, and we're getting that two-dimensional look like that. So as we get that two-dimensional look, there's not going to be any complex angles. You're just having basically everything simplified in a two-dimensional look. All right, let's get painting. Let's first take a break, though. It's always good to take a break. I'll erase just a few lines here and there. Just zip off a few lines. There we go. All right, and we'll start painting in just a second. We're going to take a break, and now's the perfect time to also mention, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You'll have fun. We do new videos every week. We do every type of watercolor paintings that you can imagine. We do flowers, architecture, houses, buildings, street scenes, streetscapes. We do ocean, nautical type scenes, seascapes, of course, boats, flower paintings, still life paintings. We do everything watercolor. So if you come here on a weekly basis, subscribe. You'll be notified of our new videos coming out each week. And then if you like the video, fine. You hang out, you try it, you paint it, you draw it, you paint it, you have fun. If you don't think you'll like it in the first few minutes, if you watch, fine. You can also, you can move on to next week's work. We're going to be doing something next week. You can go back in my archives. I've got hundreds of other videos in my archives you can go back to, all types of information and interesting paintings. All with the same type of format, watercolor, drawing and painting, all the different subject matter you can imagine that we do, special techniques, methods, things like that, laying things out, basic design, basic techniques, how to practice shadows, how to practice light, all the different things. You can go back in my archives, and if you're subscribed again, you'll be getting our new information every week. You'll also, if you hit the notification bell right next to the subscribe button, that means you'll be notified exactly when our videos come out, so you can right away take a look, see if you like it, and if you want to join in along with us and paint and draw, fine, great. If not, you can wait till the next week or the next video that comes out, and you can try on that. All right, we'll be right back. I'm just going to take a quick break. Okay, we're back. We're ready to paint. We actually completed our drawing, and then once we came back from our break, you'll always notice when you take a quick break or so for 15 minutes, you'll come back, you'll look at your drawing, let's say now, and you say, oh, I see a few things I can tidy up or, correct. Maybe I erased this line that was under the, this is a balcony here. So I erased this line under the balcony because that's really not there in real life. So let's try to keep this real life. I wanted to put in a little light. So I put a little bit of a wall lamp over here, and I think there's another one over here. So I put a couple notations for wall lamps over here. There's the door, which is sort of behind these bushes and things, which I don't mind. It's kind of obscured. I drew in a couple of pencil lines up here to remind me that there's a door with glass panels coming out to this balcony from behind in that area, in that little alcove up there by the balcony. And this is a definite wall line there. And then this here was another window, so I want to make sure I maybe just put a few window panes in there. That'll maybe make it easier to paint later. Other than that, I think we're really good. I think everything else is fine. So sometimes when you take a quick break and you come back before you paint, you'll notice maybe a few things you want to just note for yourself on your drawing, or you might want to erase a few lines, or you might say, oh, I forgot to add in this little area here that I want to make sure I notate on my pencil drawing so I don't forget when I'm painting, because that can make a big difference. If you forget a few little small minor things, sometimes it can really make a big difference in the final look of the painting. So that's why I wanted to make sure I drew in these doors up here where the glass panes are in the glass doors, and the panes in the window over here. That's important, as well as this door behind these bushes. That's the front entry door. These are the steps going up to the front entry of the home or the bed and breakfast or whatever. You can make a story up as you go in your painting and have fun. And so that's what I'm doing. And here we go. Let's get our paints and start. Again, we're going to, I'm actually going to just take 1 second. I have my water bucket here. I did not change the water out, so let me do that. What I do is when I haven't changed my water bucket out, I want to make sure going into a new painting, I'm going to take a brush, clean off the bottom of the water bucket so that there's no sediment or any kind of little particles in there. So I stir that, I clean the bottom of with a fan brush like this. So I just clean really stir around, make sure I get everything all off the bottom of the water bucket. It's been sitting about a couple days. Then I just take this, I dump it out. And then I'm ready. I have brand new fresh water. And now I'm starting off with brand new fresh clean water. We have beautiful fresh squeeze tube paint. If you ever want to, if you're new to my channel and you haven't been here for too long, if you go back, I have many videos on my palette. You can check also my other channel, which is Chris Petri. My other channel is Watercolor in 5. I think I have a quick little... So my other channel is Watercolor in 5. So I have a second YouTube channel, and on that one I have some great palette videos. So when you go onto that one, you'll see how I use my palette, how I store my paints, what colors I put in my palette, how I keep the paints nice and fresh and moist. You know, this is just from my own personal experience. If you want to have really beautiful watercolor paintings, you have to work with very fresh, soft, moist paint. That's real important. If you're trying to scrub dry paints off your palette, you're not going to be able to get the beautiful range of colors and tones and beauty that watercolor offers. So just wanted to bring that up. And also on this channel we're on now, there's also, I have palette videos too as well that explain how I use my palette and all of that too. Okay, so now we're going to go in darks, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna. That makes a really good dark, like that. We're going to get our darks in first. That's important. If we can get our darks in first, that really helps the process to go a lot easier. So here we have windows. Okay, these are darks here. Now that there is not really a dark. There's still, oh yeah, that is a dark there. So you can see if I get in those few darks there, that's really going to help me as I start my painting. Then I can go in to get some raw umber, cerulean blue. There'll be all branches and twigs and leaves over here, so there's not going to be a lot of tremendous detail over here. Same with over here. And I'll put some blue in there. So as well as the darks, I'll put in some of that cerulean blue, umbers, the raw umber. My point on this brush is already starting to wear down quite a bit. You can kind of see it's not as sharp as it was. And a couple splashes just to lighten up a little bit here. And we're going with the idea, let's keep if you lose track of your white paper, you can always put a W really lightly. W, 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 W. So I'll put really super light sketch W for white paper. I don't want to go over that with color. I want to leave that white paper. So there's certain paintings, if you're going to use a lot of white, or you're going to have a lot of white paper in there, definitely, if you need to, make that little W insignia. And then later on, when you're completely 100% done with the painting and it's dry, like the next day, you can erase that off. And there will be no harm, no foul. That'll work out good. Okay, so now we have some more yellow ochre, cerulean blue. There's some shadow colors here, maybe some purple. So we have some purple here. Shadows. That's the and I'm going to continue down here with the door. Okay, so I just did my door here. Now the basics with the door is I'm thinking is, well, there's some warm shadows in here too. So some yellow ochre, some purple for the alcove, which this door that's by this balcony is inset. So it goes back into the building a little bit. So there's like those shadows in there, and there's an archway. So that's going to be shadowy in there, all in that area. And then I think we're good here. We have our front door, which is hidden by these bushes. Let's start doing those bushes. Sap green, viridian green, some yellow ochre, couple splashes, couple dabs with our finger. We'll do a little bit of finger painting, a little bit of cobalt blue for our darker shadowy blues here. There we go. We're just going to get some greens in there. Couple of splashes. Let's use our needlepoint brush. So I wet the brush first. Our needlepoint brush. And we're just going to add some of those fern-like, palm-like plants like that. Then we add some cobalt blue for the shadow colors, even some purple and cobalt blue. Like that. There we go. Then we go back, greens. We'll start doing some greens over here. Again, a little bit of splashing. We'll do a couple of those palm-like plants here. Again, we'll get our needlepoint brush and we'll do some palm-type plants here, like that. And then back over here. That would be an outdoor, like outdoor porch area. And you have the roof over top. Let's go with the roof. Orange, cadmium red, burnt sienna, raw umber. Let's get a little mixture going here. Don't lean into your paint. Try to keep your. And there we have it. We're going to put in some of our orange clay tiles. Like that. Then some purple underneath. Better off to let that dry. That's for certain. Let that dry before you put in those little arches for the underside of the so I'm using all kinds of yellows and greens, mixing up my colors. This is the top of the roof. I'm going to paint not quite up to the orange of that clay tile roof because that'll maybe blend and not look so good right away. Let's see how that works here. Oh, that works good. There we go. And as you can see, all I'm doing is building up the colors, painting around the house. As I paint around this house, it appears. The walls appear as I paint around this house. And a few more. Add a little bit of purple. Okay, this is a perfect time for a break. We've done a lot of work here. Always remember, when we're completed, everything dries, we can come back in with a little bit of titanium white and do a couple little small lines here and there to maybe like make this door here a little more perceivable so that we can actually identify and say, oh yeah, that's definitely a door with some really nice glass panes in there. And so you can always add a little bit of white back into your painting very subtly. We'll show you how to do that coming up soon. Toward the end of the painting, we'll go back in with some white paint, just a touch of it though. It's beautiful. It's watercolor paint. It's titanium white. We mix it with a touch of yellow ochre to just make it a little bit of a warmer white that blends in with the painting a little more. Other than that, we're in really good shape. So you see how getting those darks in, the darker tonal values, the dark greens, the purples, the dark, we mixed that first dark, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna for some of our windows. So we want to make sure we get those windows nice and dark. And once you get that, then you keep moving along, adding your middle tones with some warm and cool, purple and yellow ochre, ultramarine violet. And then here we added lots of greens for for our plantings and our landscaping around this front section here. So we have lots of, we'll eventually put in this tree. So you'll have a really dark here with our tree eventually. Actually, we're going to do that next. Okay, so let's take a quick break and we'll do the tree next, the trunk of the tree and the limbs and branches, so that we can work around them in essence, because now if we paint over everything, it's not going to look as good if we try to paint everything first and then go over with our tree, if that makes sense. So we want to do our tree now and then work around our tree limbs and branches and trunk here, so that we don't get too much thick buildup of paint. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, we're getting started again, and we're having fun here. We're going to mix up a little bit of paint for our tree here, so the tree trunk and then the limbs and branches. And we're going to be using our needlepoint brush and our Kolinsky sable brush here. So a round watercolor brush, Kolinsky sable, and a needlepoint brush, number 8 needlepoint brush. So we're going to use these two brushes here to create our tree. And let's see, let's go with a dark here, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of sap green, and some burnt sienna. Okay, and then we're just going to get started on that. And a little bit of water. Okay, these are thicker branches. I'm using a larger brush here. And then just about here is where I would start to use the thinner brush. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, then get the needlepoint brush and we'll use more of the same colors here. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, add a little bit of green to that. Very, very little water, mostly paint, and we just do some really free-flowing branches and limbs, and have fun with this. Doesn't have to be a lot, just enough that we're going to actually splash some paint on here too. We're going to splash some paint on here in just a few, so that you're going to I think that's good. Now we'll go back with our number 8 Raphael brush. Green, sap green, cadmium lemon yellow, yellow ochre. So we'll get a mixture of greens, a little bit of that warmer, and we're just going to splash on some leaves. So we wouldn't sit here and paint little leaves. We would just splash on the paint like so. And then maybe here and there sporadically some light bits of painted in paints like so, just to, and then a little bit of maybe some finger painting just to get in some more leaves and bunches of leaves versus trying to, but that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit of purple for some shadowing mixed in there, just a little bit, and we'll just some some more splashes. So I wet that up a little bit, get a little more water in there. And just some splashes there with some purple. And that should be good. That's a lot of information we just put in there in very little time. So we covered a lot of ground there, as you can see. And let's not fuss with that too much more. Let's leave that as it is. I think that'll be good. I'll maybe just fill in that corner up top here, like so. Then we'll go in and get some of the orange color. And since this is hidden in the back here behind all the leaves, so you can imagine all those leaves and branches and everything like that, it's all hidden back here. So you don't have to really do much with this, with the roof, the clay tile roof. You just put in some of that orange like that here and there. You mix it in, and no one will know the difference. They'll think you spent hours and hours of painting trying to make this beautiful painting, when in essence you did not that much. You didn't have to do all that hard work. You just let the paint and the water do its work for you. That's all. And then here. Now here we do a little more. Now, since this is out in the open where there's no branches and things, now we have to be a little more conscientious on how we paint that. So we're going to get some good detail there. And there's some more roof over here too. Let's make sure we put that in. And again, it's very, very you can put little exciting bits of color with the cadmium red and cadmium orange to make the painting a lot more exciting. Straight paint though, no water. Straight paint with that cadmium red. And just infuse it into the other washes. So I'm just talking out loud here as I go, explaining how I do it. And that's what I thought would look really good, is that really lots of cadmium red, straight out of the tube red, no water. Maybe I have a damp brush here, and it infuses right into the washes as I go. And then it becomes a real fun, exciting play of beautiful, exciting, vibrant colors. And we've made a lot of progress here. We don't have much left to do, actually. So that's why when we paint in 2 dimensions like this, it's real easy for you. So if you're beginning, just beginning in watercolor, or you're maybe an intermediate and you've been painting a couple years or so, this is your style painting you want to do. If you're into this type of thing where you're doing architecture, homes, bed and breakfasts, streetscapes, things like that, this is the way you go. You just get down your basic drawing in 2 dimensions, no fancy angles, and then you just get in and you start putting in your washes, and you start with your darks first, and that's really all there is to it. And then we're doing our greens now, getting all our landscaping in, our bushes, our plantings, our little ferns, and our palm type plants, and our tree here. Once you have that, and then it's really pretty much just doing the final details. So I think we'll just go a little bit more. Let's get in the grass here. So we're going to have some real interesting, some sunlit grass, which is that cadmium lemon yellow, like that. Wow, look at that. And then we tone it down. Purple and the green and the sap green. So once you do that, you have some really exciting bright color. And then maybe we just just kind of tone down. Things here on the grass. So we left that real bright green right here by the steps, and then let's get in some of the, we'll do our staircase here. So we're going to leave a little bit of white in between each of the steps. Like that. And then a little bit darker over here. To the left side, it's a little darker. There's a shadow there. That's all. A little bit of yellow ochre in there. We'll have a little bit of a shadow under here. And we have a little bit of a darker. We'll do some more details here in just a bit. Let's do some stone here, some stonework, a little bit of blue. And I'm just going to make the stone just a mixture of all kinds of colors here. I'm just using whatever's on my palette. Really light tones though. This is a very light. The stonework is very light in tonal value, so I don't want to. Then some splashes. That makes some really good stone effects, splashing. Then I'm going to take purple and do the shadow under here. So I just want to get a definite shadow under this stone. So there's a stone cap on this wall. I want to make sure I accentuate that. That looks really good. I'll make that a little bit darker. A little bit of purple there too. Couple more splashes over here. some tissue and I blot up over here. You can do that. You can blot up a lot, actually. And then just maybe put in a couple of shadows under the stones. So if you think if you're doing your stonework here and you think all of a sudden it looks a little bit too much too many darks in there, that's all. You just blot it up. You have to do it though while the paints are still wet, and then go back in and do some more shadowing there. That looks good. Okay, we'll take another break. I think we're coming really close to the finish here. We have pretty much a lot of the main portions done. We have a little more detail to do with the light fixtures, this balcony here with the railings. Other than that, I think we're pretty much good. We'll do a little more details with the roofs. We'll paint in some details to give us that clay tile look. But I think other than that, this is really coming along beautifully. So again, we're just creating a beautiful residential home type architectural drawing and painting in watercolor. We're doing it with fresh, clean colors from our palette. And we're not getting too bogged down in angles and perspective. We're kind of just doing a simple two-dimensional drawing where we just stuck to the real simple lines, no angles, simple shapes, doors, windows, some roof rectangles for the roofs. Nothing's, pretty simple. Rectangles for walls, and some plantings and some tree shapes and limbs and things, and that's it. It's really looking good. All right, so we will continue in just a minute. We'll take a quick break. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We create videos like this all the time, every week. We're here. We're creating beautiful watercolors. Come join us. Once you hit that subscribe button, you'll be notified that we're creating a new painting. We're doing 1, 2, sometimes 3 paintings a week, so you'll be able to check out which ones you want to try. We do all different subject matter from this style, which is, architecture, street scenes. We do flowers, seascapes, boat paintings, still life, figure drawings, and we also do tutorials on paints, palettes, brushes, techniques, methods, all watercolor. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. All right, we are finishing up our painting here. This beautiful architectural rendering of a bed and breakfast, your home, my home, anyone's home. Imagination, have fun with this. Imagine maybe you're going on vacation and this is the place you're going to, or maybe this is a place you went to and now you're painting it. Have fun with this. Get excited. We're at the point where we're now finishing up, and we noticed that we've gotten most of the bulk of the painting done. Now it's just a matter of doing some ornamental details to just kind of finish the picture of what we're doing. We don't want to overdo it. This is where you kind of say to yourself, okay, put on the brakes. You're at the last bit of your painting. So now I'm going to go in and just do the final details, and we'll kind of see together how things will come together. It'll look good. We'll get some darks for the railings. Let's do the railings now. So I'll use I might even do some ivory black and Payne's gray. Okay, let's do the railings. And again, let's do them rapidly. Let's not try to get too detailed. Sometimes when we do things a little bit haphazard, they look good. So you can see I did that in like 10 seconds. So that's the railings. Okay, railing's done. Maybe we'll do some railings over here on this window. Okay. Now, again, I'm going sparingly here. Let's go with some shadowing under the we'll do some shadowing under the balcony here. Okay, shadowing under the balcony. And then I'm going to go with some raw sienna and purple. Shadowing under the eaves of the roof here. Shadowing under these areas of the eaves here of the roof. And we might do a little bit of and I just went over those whites of the paper with some orange and red. A little bit of warm within the cool purple. Okay, now we're going to go in again with our needlepoint brush. And I'm going to do some of these these are the shutters for the that's all we have to do. Nothing fancy, no sweating out how many lines are there or how much space between each line. No. Does this make sense? We're just firing in some level lines, trying to keep them nice and level, carefully. Same here. We have shutters on this side of the window over here on this side. It's kind of in the background here. We don't see it too much, but just that little bit of shutters back there is going to make that portion of the painting, even though it's sort of on the side of the painting, it's still going to read interesting, and there's something going on there that we kind of know it ties in with the rest of the painting. And then here we can go with some shadowing on this side of the shutter. There, looks good. A little bit of orange. Okay. And we have these doors back here. Let's get those windows. Let's see if we can make those seem real and accurate somewhat. It's kind of hidden behind these bushes and these plants here, but we want to make sure we try a little bit to create that door. And then we're going to do our lamp. Our lamp there, and then we'll do some shadowing for our lamp. Then we're going to do some ornamentation. This is the ornamentation at the water fountain here. There's a water fountain over here. And I added a little bit of color to the plaster wall here. And a little bit of shadowing underneath this over here. This is some additional information here. Now we're really looking good. Let's do some purple, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of burnt sienna. And we're just going to get some lines in here on these roofs, just a little bit. And you don't see them as much behind the trees there, but you will see them here. So let's get those in. And then we're going to do the clay tile. So we're just going to do a couple little, just those little arch type shapes. We'll do a couple maybe with some highlights. So we'll do some in the darker tonal value like this here. So we're going to do a few like this, and we'll do a few with the highlights with the white paint, titanium white. Okay, so then we have that. Then we're going to go with dark. So you'll see I'm just kind of getting the final details in. These details are important. They really, these go in last. These details go in last. And you can see I'm kind of doing those arches, right? Like that, underneath the tiles. There's a few back in here. We want to make them look good. We don't have to do them everywhere, but try to do them somewhat here. They're already in a little bit, but let's get them. There we go. And then some more over here. Shadow. So I didn't get that shadow in over here. Let me get that in over here, like that. And then I add a little more darker, same color as the shapes underneath the clay tiles for the roof. I want to make sure that's dark. Makes it look more interesting. Over here. Here we go. And if you see a spot that might not look or if you need to blot up a couple bits, no problem. But I think we're really getting that look that we were actually after, which was getting that beautiful color, the light, the shadows, the beautiful white stucco, the trees, the foliage. It's really looking good. It has really a lot of... I'll just do a little more splashing to get a few more bits of that green leaves and things, because there's tons of green leaves. So if I could just splash in a few more of those green leaves, I'm feeling better about that. That looks great. And then the only thing we would have to do is, once this completely 100% dries, we would erase the W's where we left the white of the paper. So that's really the only thing left to do. And then we might, here at this point, I think we did say we wanted to do a few things. We wanted to use our titanium white paint. So I just take my titanium white paint, take the cap off, I take my needlepoint brush, I rinse it off, clean it off, I go into some yellow ochre, and then I put some yellow ochre in the top of that titanium white paint tube right there. And then right now what I have is a nice beautiful white paint, straight white paint, tube paint, no water really, with that touch of the yellow ochre to just give it a little bit of a warm white. And then what we'll do is we'll put in these the panes of the window here. And as you can see, when we do that, it definitely enhances that tremendously, that window. That door, actually. That's a door there. That's a door that leads out to this beautiful balcony. We got the railings there. Then we're going to go over, we're going to take again our titanium white, mix with a touch, just a tiny little bit of yellow ochre. And then we're going to do our other window over here. It could be a door over here too. It could be a door or a patio or another but this looks really good. And that really helps explain that this is a door here. And then we have the bottom of the door here. And we can even go a little more with a little bit of a touch of like that, just a little bit of a tonal value there, a little bit of a touch of paint. And if we wanted to, we can even, if this is looking too much like a window, we can make the sides so that it looks much more like a door. So the door usually has that decent size bit of wood on each side, and then also there. But I wouldn't keep going with details. I would say at some point we just say we can't do any more details, otherwise it'll ruin the whole thing. So a couple little arched highlights there, sunlight touching the roof. Maybe a few there. See, just a touch, just a few here and there, not too many. Just like that. Maybe one there. We could clean up and, like, you know, one here and there if you think you can use a little bit of white just to make something look a little bit better. We can do that. We can do this over here, a couple. A couple here. Just a couple. Maybe you see another area where you could use a little bit of shadow under there, like that. Inside this area here. I don't think the scale is exactly 100% perfect, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes you're not going to, you know, sometimes your one door might look a little bit shorter than the other, or the window might look a little smaller or taller than you might anticipate. But if you get things pretty close, you're going to be fine. So don't sweat out every detail of everything. Just fire it in, have a good time with it. And I think you'll have a really beautiful painting in the end. Once you get through the main portion of your painting, and then you just take your time and finish up with a little bit of details. We'll peel off the paint, off the tape here. And we'll zoom into this scene so you can see the finished painting. We're just peeling off the tape. Looks much better once we peel off the tape. Okay. The real exciting part of this is the sunlight, the beautiful sunlight, just, you know, the sunlight raking across this building, the shadows underneath the eaves of the roof, the beautiful foliage and tree here kind of setting the building back a little bit so it gives us that three-dimensional feel. And let's zoom in. Let's see, move our palette. You can do this, even beginners, you have a fine time doing this. No complicated angles, just basically all rectangles and squares here with a couple arched shapes. And there you have it. All right, so give this a try, have fun. Remember, subscribe, hit that notification bell, subscribe. We're doing paintings like this all the time, 2-3 paintings a week. We're creating these for you. You follow along step by step. After 3, 6, 8, 12 months, a year and a half, 2 years, you'll be doing this, you know, you'll be doing these type of paintings like, you know, no problem at all. It's just a matter of doing the same process over and over. Getting your drawing down with your pencil drawing solid. Once your pencil drawing is completed, then you're just putting in your paints, making sure you're doing your darks first. So you get your darks in first, and then from there you just fill in your medium, mid-tones, you know, your middle tonal values. And then you're just making sure you get in some real good, you know, pop in some real good straight out of the tube paint in there for some exciting highlights of color. And you really have it. And we left lots of white paper here too to utilize the complete tonal value array of a watercolor painting. You're using the white of your paper and then all your other darks and your middle tonal values to get that whole spectrum of color and your tonal values, your range of tonal values, your lights and your darks, all the way from extreme darks to your incredibly bright whites, leaving you with a beautiful, exciting painting. All right, everyone, we'll see you on the next video. Enjoy. And we'll be back in just a few.